Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So, as Darktide hasn't had really any content updates for a very long time, I've not been making up-to-date guides because, honestly, all of the old guides are still absolutely fine. But what I've decided to do is take a look at some builds and weapon combinations that you don't usually see. So we're going to try and do some theme builds. So today, we are taking a look at the Veteran and, more specifically, the Arbites build. So with that, we're going to be using the shock maul and the combat shotgun. So let's start off with the shock maul. As you can see here, the modifiers are not perfect on this because, as I said, it's a fun build. I'm not trying to min-max. But if you want to roll perfect modifiers, mobility is going to be your dump stat. As for your perks, I'm sticking with Maniac and Flak. That is just, for one, Flak is the most prevalent armor type in the game, and Maniac is just to help you deal with those pesky specials when they get too close to you, and of course Rages. Blessings wise, it's pretty standard. We're going with Skull Crusher for target receives 4 stacks of plus 10% damage if already staggered, lasting 5 seconds. The Shock Maul is really good at staggering stuff, so this is going to be up most of the time. And I've gone with High Voltage to give us plus 25% damage versus electrocuted enemies. So as you can see, after a few swings, everything you're hitting gets that electrocuted debuff. So you're getting a nice big damage boost from that. And also, it's just a fun weapon. I like the shock maul. It's just not... It doesn't quite perform at the very, very top level. Which doesn't mean it's not good. It's just not picked for metagaming. But it is a very good weapon. It's just, not quite S tier. Next up, we're using the shotgun, more specifically, the Agrippina Mark 7. Now, some of the others do have more damage on them. For example, oh god, I hate it does that. There we go. The only reason I'm using this one is because it's incredibly accurate, but you can use whichever one you want. The Akatran does a lot more damage, as you can see, but it isn't as accurate. I will show you the difference between them as we'll fire off a few shots. So as you can see here, the modifiers are not perfect again. Again, it's just a fun build. I don't really care about getting it absolutely spot on. If you do, though, again, mobility is the dump stat that you want to go for. Perk-wise, we're going with Flak and Unyielding. Flak, again, because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game, and Unyielding because this is going to help us lay down some fire on heavier targets and bosses. Blessings-wise, I'm going with No Respite, up to 20% damage on hit. Staggered enemies scaling with stagger, and Full Bore. Now, Full Bore you can change out. I may even suggest you should change out to Man Stopper. So Full Bore gives you plus 20% strength for 5 seconds when every pellet in a shot hits the same enemy. Very good for single target. But Man Stopper gives you increased cleave on critical hit and gain 25% ranged attack stagger. I just don't have Man Stopper at tier 4. So that's a sort of a few different ways you can go with it. So No Respite, very good. Full Bore, still good, but Man Stopper might slightly outperform it. And before I forget, we're going to take a quick look at the Curios. We're using 2 plus 17% Curios with 5% toughness, toughness regeneration speed, and plus 20% damage resistance gunners. And the last one is a plus 21% health with 5% toughness, toughness regeneration speed, and plus 12% stamina regeneration. So that is the gear. Before we jump into the talents, we're just going to take a quick look at the shotguns. So, the Agrippina. The special thing about this, it loads in a solid slug with your extra action button, mine's mouse button 4, and basically turns the thing into a sniper rifle. And what's very handy is with this specific shotgun, Full Bore does proc off of that loaded in slug, because of course every pellet's hitting, but we are only firing one pellet. It is a beast of a weapon. But as you can see here, it does suffer slightly against Carapace. It doesn't mean we can't kill Carapace, it just means you're going to have to fire a few shots. But if that's not your thing and you want to go for just pure damage, we can switch that out to the Acatran. So the Acatran has a different special action. We're basically loading up a fire breath round. And as you can see there, just the hip fire. It's really nasty. But the extra action button ability isn't that great. I mean, it's all okay for laying down some fire damage, I guess. But even then, I wouldn't count on it. But, as you can see, with the lower mag, we only have 9 shots instead of the 13 we had with the Agrippina. What we want is reload speed. And that's where the talent tree comes in. So let's take a quick look and we will explain what we're using. So, this is basically my bolt gun build with a few changes here and there. And it works stupidly well, if I may say so myself. So let's start off over here on the left. We're grabbing long shot, deal up to 20% range based damage bonus, is reduced the nearer the target is. And then we're going to volley adept, plus 30% reload speed on elite and specialist enemy kill. We are going to be hunting specials with this build. Because we have a single shot weapon, shotgun, we're not going to be wasting our time killing hordes, we are hunting down specials. So volley adept is going to proc quite a lot for us. Then over here on the right, we're going with one motion, plus 25% weapon swap speed. This is going to allow us to pull out that shock maul and deal with the hordes when we eventually get surrounded, which will happen. And then tactical reload, plus 25% reload speed if your weapon contains ammo. So this is the only tricky part to the build. I say tricky, the only thing you need to keep in mind, always leave one shell in the gun. And that way, you will have stupidly high reload speed. Right, let's go down the tree. Then we've got close order drill, up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. Confirmed kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill, and the further 20% toughness over 10 seconds. Stamina boost into toughness boost, and they're grabbing crack grenade. Now, this is also going to be a good way for you to deal with armor, as none of our weapons are super high armor penetration. The crack grenade is going to fix that issue for us. And then into the health boost, and then we're picking up Grenade Tinkerer, which gives crack grenade plus 50% extra damage. Into Fire Team, plus 5% damage for you and your allies in coherency. Down into Toughness Damage Reduction, plus 5% Toughness Damage Reduction into Demolition Stockpile, which is going to replenish one grenade every 60 seconds, and then Voice of Command. And this is going to let us replenish toughness and stagger all enemies within 9 meters. The base cooldown for this is 30 seconds. And then Duty and Honor, Voice of Command now also provides you and your allies in coherency with plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness, so this is going to give us a kind of overshield, not quite, for a small amount of time. And this applies to everyone in your team as long as they're in coherency. Suppression boost into range damage boost, and then we're picking up Precision Strikes. This is going to give us plus 30% weak spot damage. Very handy with the shotgun and the shock maul. Fully loaded to give us plus 25% ammo into Superiority Complex. And this is giving us plus 15% base damage against elite enemies. This is both ranged and melee. And then we're grabbing Marksman. On ability use for 10 seconds, any weak spot hit gains plus 20% strength. So that means every time we use Voice Command, we are also getting Marksman. Then over here for another ability modifier, for the Emperor, your combat ability gives you and your allies in coherency plus 10% melee base damage, and plus 10% range base damage for 5 seconds. This does stack with marksman. Tactical awareness, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. Again, we are going to be hunting those specials. Then into Iron Will, plus 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. Into Toughness Boost, which is going to give us 25 toughness. Rending Strikes gives plus 10% rending to all weapons. Rending works out at about 1% rending is more or less 1% damage. So just see this as a 10% damage debuff that gets through the diminishing returns of armor. Then into Bring It Down, plus 20% damage against Ogryns and monstrosities. And then Focus Target is our keystone. Gain a focus target every 2 seconds, stacking 5 times. Tagging an enemy applies the focus target stacks to them, causing them to take 4% additional damage for each stack that they have, and reset your focus target stacks down to 1. And then we're taking Focused Fire, which increases that to 8 stacks. Basically, work out whatever your button is for tag. Mine is C. Look at the target you want to kill. Tag the target you want to kill. Kill the target. Rinse and repeat on anything big. But there you have it. That is the Arbites build. Pretty simple, but very effective. And if you really want to, yes, this build still works exactly the same way as it does with the bolt gun, as this is literally the bolt gun build with a few changes here and there. So I do hope you folks enjoy it, and if you do, please do like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And if you have a fun build or a weapon combination you'd like to see, please comment down below and I will see what I can come up with. So until the next one, thanks very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.